meeting to order. I've asked Cheryl Polk if she'll give our prayer this morning. So as you're preparing yourselves, I ask that you take your cell phone real quick, turn it to silent, and if you will, we'll stand and we'll follow with the pledge. Cheryl, thank you.
Dear Lord, thank you for today and all the blessings that you continue to pour out on us each and every day. God, I just lift up this meeting to you today. Just help us lead and guide us as we make decisions that are best for the taxpayers of this county. Bless all those who serve in our uniforms for us and for our freedom. Dear Lord, just we love you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Cheryl, thank you again. Takes us to number 4. I need approval of agenda even day.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. President, to amend the legal agenda, that would be to consider a motion to authorize and approve contracts for sale of restrictive easement. That's going to pertain to 3 persons: Charlotte Watkins, Kimbrough, Clayton Landing Timber LLC, and then a Hatcher. And that's to authorize the board president to keep the same.
Motion to amend.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Back to the approval agenda. I believe I already have a motion and a second. I'll ask again for any discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Takes us to number 5, approval of minutes dated August 5th, 2019, 9 a.m. and 1 o'clock p.m. August 15th, 2019 work session.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. That takes us to number 6. I have a Miss Stacy Jenkins for a prayer walk, and I believe, yes ma'am, if you'll come up to the podium. And Miss Jenkins, all I need you to do is just, again, state your name and your address, and the floor is yours.
Okay. My name is Stacy Jenkins. My address is 414 North Point Drive, Meridian, Mississippi, 39305. I would like to say thank you this morning for allowing me to have this opportunity to speak with you. We are having a prayer walk of hope on August the 25th at 5 o'clock. That is a Sunday afternoon, next Sunday afternoon, and there are some business leaders that we have spoken to in the community. There's some educators that will be there at Dumont Plaza. We will begin the walk at Village Fair Mall, which we're calling the gateway to our community. And we have great news because great things are happening in Meridian, Mississippi. And we know that the Lord desires to change things and turn things around and have unity among the people, unity among the churches, unity among everybody working together. And so that's what we just want to stand together and have this prayer walk of hope for anyone that does need hope. But anyway, we will we will begin at the Village Fair Mall, the gateway, and we will walk 9/10 of a mile to Dumont Plaza. And at 5:45 at Dumont Plaza, we will have other people gathered there to join us in praying. For those that will not be able to walk, we will have the trolley from 4 to 8 to transport people back and forth, or either people can just park there at Dumont Plaza and then just wait until that time. And so while I am mentioning the walk, I would like to ask your grace if we could possibly park at Village Fair Mall in some of that parking close to Fred's. We will be parking at Fred's, and we've got permission from the police department. So I would just like to thank you for this opportunity. I don't know if I need to let you all make to see about the parking there. I'm not sure how that works, but I do have a handout that I would like to be able to give each one of you, because I do know that you stand for the good of Lauderdale County as well as the city of Meridian, and we appreciate your service.
Ms. Stacy, if you want to hand those to Chris, we'll pass those around.
All right, that'd be great.
Gentlemen, we're good with parking. Okay.
Do we need to put that in the form of a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Say especially in light of our discussion at the last meeting about restricting.
So,
Oh.
You're good to park.
okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a blessed day.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Okay, that takes us to number 7, Sheriff Billy Solomon.
Good morning, sir.
As usual, the first item on my agenda is personnel matters. You have listing of personnel that are no longer associated with Baltimore County Sheriff's Department. Item number 2 is a training opportunity. Sergeant Andy Minicheski will be attending the 2019 CIT International Conference in Seattle, Washington on August 25th to the 29th. Registration is $395. Flight is $756. Lodging will be $1,113.14, and he's requesting per diem of $280. This will be paid for our budget, but will be reimbursed by Meridian Community College.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item number 3, Deputy Samuel Upchurch is needing to attend the refresher training through the state of Mississippi. He'll be attending Meridian Community College Academy for approximately 6 weeks, starting August 13th. Registration is $400, and this will be reimbursed by the state of Mississippi.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
The next item is to purchase a 2019 Ford F-150 truck. We have 2 written quotes. Based on the 2 written quotes, we'd like to make the recommendation for the cheapest and lowest price to Mac Hake Ford out of Jackson, Mississippi. This will be paid for out of the C's funds.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
So that's all I have on my agenda. Today's population is 200. We have 5 misdemeanors. The rest of them are there here on felony charges.
Anything for the sheriff? Thank you, sir. All right. That will take us to our tax assessor, Mr. James Rainey.
Morning, Board.
Morning, Mr. James.
Most all this is routine, but we'll go through it. Petition for change of assessments. Each one of y'all have an Excel spreadsheet. Put on there.
Mr. President, upon the recommendation of the tax assessor, I so move.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next one has our recommendations on the tax appeals. Present that to y'all. Each one of y'all have a spreadsheet on each one of those.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Do we need to?
Is that a motion?
Yeah,
Motion, so move. What?
yeah, you're right. We just need to discuss. So talk us through that. How do you want?
No, you just need to put
On the tax appeals.
your motion to accept his recommendation, approve. What's the?
Yes.
Simply recommendation, we discussed it on Thursday. Somebody else have more questions?
No, just ask what the motion, what's the motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the recommendation coming from the tax assessors on the appeals on the last tax appeal that we had.
2019.
2019.
All right. So I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second from Mr. Todd. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Gentlemen, that concludes all I have, unless y'all have some questions.
Gentlemen? All right, Mr. Rainey? I think we're good. Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
All right, that takes us to number 9 on our agenda, Rush Matt, our county road manager.
Morning, Board. Morning, Rush. I only got one item on my agenda this morning, and that is need approval of a repair quote from Puckett Machinery in the amount of $9,646.27 to repair a motor grader. Of course, there's a serial number associated with it.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
And that's all I have on my agenda this morning, unless y'all got something for me.
Gentlemen, anything for our road manager? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Give me just a second. Find my mark. All right, that takes us to number 10, our staff reports, and we'll start with Miss Carolyn Moon.
Okay, good morning.
Ma'am.
My first item, I would like to submit for inclusion in the minutes, the public notice that's posted on the bulletin board on the first floor of the Raymond Davis Annex Building, advising of the date and time of this meeting pursuant to Section 254113 Mississippi Code of 1972. My next item, I need board approval for the second claims docket for the month of August and authorize the clerk to issue the warrants.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Second. Have a second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
The next item, I need board approval to include in the minutes certification from Sheriff Solly that 18,452 meals were served in the Lauderdale County Detention Facility during the month of July, and to authorize the board president to sign the necessary paperwork.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
And my next item is, concerns homestead chargebacks. We received 88 chargebacks from the Department of Revenue. We mailed each applicant a notice giving them 30 days to respond, and they have, and now I need board approval to finalize these chargebacks with the Department of Revenue. We had 65 acceptance and 23 rejections, and I need board approval to finalize those.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. President, that concludes my agenda.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Mooney? Okay, that will take us to Chris Lafferty, our county administrator.
Good morning, Mr. President, Board.
Good morning.
My first item here, I need approval for Chris O'Neill and Adam White to attend the 2019 Spice World Convention, September the 23rd through the 25th, 2019, in Austin, Texas. Travel will include registration, hotel, per diem, and transportation costs.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval for Paul Early to attend the 2019 MJCJ Fall Conference, October the 9th through the 11th, 2019 in Jackson. Travel includes registration, hotel, per diem, and mileage.
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval for Odie Barrett, Dinah Farmer, to attend the MCD EMA 2019 Midwinter Emergency Management Education Conference. Registration form November 12 through 14, 2019 in Biloxi. Travel includes registration, per diem, hotel, and travel in a county vehicle.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to advance $5,000 from the general fund to the EWP for Clarkdale NRCS Grant Fund 073. This advance will be paid back when the project is completed and grant funds are received.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
Just so the public knows, this is a great partnership with NCRS. It helps when storms comes through. You know, appreciate Ms. Sherrill, Mr. Temple, and Rush, and all of them working on this to help fix these drainage issues that through there. So let's just clarify.
All right, good deal. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
The next one, along those same lines, I need approval to advance $5,000 from the general fund to the EWP Kewanee NRCS Grant Fund 074. This will also be paid back when the project is complete and grant funds are received.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to advance $5,000 from the general fund to the EWP Sam Gray NRCS Grant Fund 075. This also will be paid back when the project is complete and grant funds are received.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to transfer $5,000 from the general fund to DUI grant fund 034.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to advance up to $10,000 from the general fund to DUI grant fund 034 if grant funds are not received by August the 31st, 2019.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to advertise for one or more ambulances for Metro Ambulance.
So moved.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to advertise for a purchasing clerk.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to advertise for RFPs for an employee clinic.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, I need approval to re-advertise for solid waste enforcement officer.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second. Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
My next item here is based on the conversation that we had Thursday in our work session. I need approval to advertise for fencing at the old mall site.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
My next item, I need approval to accept the lowest and best quote from Everbright for the Nixle Engage for emergency mass notification services in the amount of $7,000. You see the two quotes there?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Is it Everbridge or Everbright?
Everbridge, I'm sorry.
Everbridge. Okay, and it's worded correctly there. All right. Any discussion anymore? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
That's that public education.
Sorry.
Next, I need to ratify and approve the purchase of a 2018 Ram 3500 four-wheel drive for Lima in the amount of $49,283. And this is done in accordance with Mississippi Code 31718. Friday afternoon, we were able to get one worked out. So we'll be getting that this fiscal year.
Good deal. All right.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And my final item, I need approval for the following pauper barrel for Miss Patricia Basham.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. President, that concludes my agenda.
Anything for Mr. Lafferty, gentlemen? All right, that will take us to our board attorney, Mr. Lee Thaggart.
Mr. President, good morning.
Good morning.
Board. First item, ask you to consider a resolution of the Board of Supervisors accepting and approving the budget of estimated expenses for Lauderdale County School Board for fiscal year 2020.
Need a motion to consider the approval and accept the recommendations of the tax assessor for the, that's incorrect, I'm sorry, I'm way off.
So moved.
So moved. Hey, do me a favor. Let's just back up, do it again.
All right.
I was reading something in here and I got lost. Do it again. I'm sorry. We're going to do it right.
All right, ask to consider a resolution of the Board of Supervisors accepting and approving the budget of estimated expenses for the Lauderdale County School Board fiscal year 2020.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
for the public's information, this is Lauderdale County School Board that's going up on taxes for the county. I have had several phone calls over the weekend addressing tax increase. And a lot of people doesn't understand that it's not this board that's raising taxes, it's the school board that's raising the taxes. So again, I just wanted to touch base on the discussion that this board is not raising taxes, but our school and our kids have to have an increase. And I hadn't seen the budget, so I can't tell you what it's all about, but this Lauderdale County School is one increase in taxes. Thank you, sir.
Sure, and I would just like to add to that a little bit, is that I too have gotten phone calls and emails, and, I would just, I've told the people that I've talked to that we are right where we were last year. We run this side of the county government, the court systems, the sheriff's department, tax collector, tax assessor, anything you guys can think of, we operate that budget. The schools come to us. They are a taxing entity, and it was quoted in the paper, we could turn that down, but if there's a shortfall, we're responsible for it, and we're just not going to go down that avenue. Now, if people have questions, I think the proper people to ask would be the school board. If you want to know why they went up, I believe the paper said it was in the neighborhood of $700,000. You need to be asking them why the increase. Was there increases in salaries? Are there projects to be done? Personally, I know that we've okayed and talked about the Silicon Ranch property out there, $98,000 they're getting a year off of renting that. I know they sold the timber off of that. I mean, I have questions, and we've reached out, and I haven't been able to talk to Dr. Kane or anybody yet. So I just want to know, I've got my own questions, just like everyone else. So I would ask you to direct your questions to the Lauderdale County School Board. Again, like Mr. Newell said, it's not us, it's them that's requested this. And as a few minutes ago, we accepted that. So,
And
yeah, we're fixing to.
where there's 5 supervisors on the board, there's also 5 school board representation from each district, and which is elected also.
Yeah, where are they at as far as their new positions being created? Where's it being spent? Where's it going? Those are good questions, and those are the folks you need to talk to and ask about it. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, ask you to consider a resolution expressing the intent of the Lauderdale County Board of Supervisors to set a public hearing on the budget and setting the tax rate.
So moved.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next item, ask you to consider a board order for project number ERBR SAP 3895 Woods Road, bids received.
So moved, and put exclamation points behind it, like 5 or 6 of them.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Do we need to take this up?
No, we're not.
You want to postpone it?
No, it's been postponed for 3 years, we're good.
All right. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, next, consider a motion to authorize and approve the board president to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Building Works, Inc., a division of Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services for the Community-Based Services CBS Work Experience Program/internship.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Moving to item 5. Item 5 and 6 are almost identical, so I'll go through the 5 first and verbatim, and then cut 6 a little bit short. Item 5, ask consider a motion to approve and authorize the board president to execute the encroachment protection contribution agreement with the United States of America relative to the board's contract for the sale of a restrictive easement for approximately 105.53 acres with Michael G. Crosby and Catherine P. Crosby. Further, to approve and authorize the board president to execute the assignment of the restrictive easement following the closing of the purchase of such restrictive easement from Michael G. Crosby and Catherine P. Crosby. And further, to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate purchase of such restrictive easement and to assign such restrictive easement to the United States of America. The reference contract was approved on March 4, 2019. This transaction is being conducted in accordance with the multi-year encroachment protection agreement as amended between the United States of America, the state of Mississippi, Lauderdale County, Kemper County, concerning the Naval Air Station permit.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 6 is exactly the same motion as the last one, but it pertains to a separate tract of property of 41.77 acres. Ask you to consider a motion to authorize and approve.
Do I have a motion? I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next items are on the amendment to the legal agenda. Ask you to consider a motion to authorize and approve a contract for sale of a restrictive easement with Charlotte Watkins Kimbrough, and authorize the board president to execute the same in accordance with the multi-year coastal protection agreement between the United States of America, Lauderdale County, Temple County.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, ask you to consider a motion to authorize and approve the contract for sale of a restrictive easement with Clayton Land and Timber, LLC, to authorize the board president to execute the same in accordance with the multi-year coastal protection agreement between the United States of America, Lauderdale County, Kemper County, and State of Mississippi.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next, ask you to consider a motion to authorize and approve a contract for the sale of a restrictive easement with Edna Fay Hatcher, to authorize the board president to execute the same in accordance with the multi-year coastal protection agreement between the United States of America, Lauderdale County, Kemper County, and State of Mississippi.
So moved. Have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. President, subject to questions, I'll just ask you to consider the need for an executive session.
All right. Do we have anything for Mr. Thacker, gentlemen? All right. That takes us to number 11. This is where we open the podium up for other matters for general good and welfare. It's where a member of the public can come up, address the board. They'll have a limit of 5 minutes to speak before the board. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address the board at this time? Yes, sir. If you'll step up. Mr. White, just again state your name and your address, and you'll have 5 minutes.
Can I request that I borrow 5 minutes from somebody in this audience has agreed to do that?
I'm going to say no because, just for precedent's sake, I'm afraid that down the line we'll have to address that again.
What I have to talk to about today, y'all have already approved. But I'll give it to you one way or the other. First one, my name is Jackie Thomas White, and I live at 280 Oakwood Drive, Meridian, Mississippi. I was born to two parents, Albert and Robert White. I was born in 1950 and lived in the project homes. I was drafted in 1969. I'm a decorated Vietnam veteran. I graduated from North Carolina State University with a BSEE in electrical engineering, member of Phi Kappa Phi of a university of 42,000 people, that's 5%. Eta Kappa Nu, Tau Beta Phi. I graduated from Darden Executive School at the University of Virginia. I became a vice president manager of the largest paper mill complex in the world, 65 million gallons of water per day, 950 truckloads of tree link logs a day, $900 million budget, and $1 billion profit a year. We had 12% overhead. Our school county system has 38% overhead. It's 26% more than the largest paper mill complex in the world, and we're paying for it, and you just approved it. Team concepts are non-existent, self-directed work teams, no high-performance work teams, no safety awards or anything. And I'm going to get on to something that's really dear to my heart. I got 3 minutes and 51 seconds, so I'm going to read 5. 1 gram of uranium equals 1 megawatt of power. 1 nuclear plant, 3,875 megawatts, or 93,000 megawatts, or 93,000 megawatts. Solar cost of 1 megawatt is $1 million. That means, therefore, 1 solar plant the size of an average nuclear plant would cost you $93 billion. And we're fussing about $7 billion up here. $93 billion. But they get a 30% tax break. That's why they're in business. That means they get $27 billion in nuclear industry does not. Waste, a nuclear plant over 25 years stacked on a football field would be the height of 52 meters or the height of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. A solar waste the same size, the height of 2 Mount Everest. So what you're getting is a cost savings without considering 2 things. What it takes to make a solar panel and what it takes to get rid of it. Now, there's no plan in this United States as we speak to dispose of, guess what? Solar panel plates. Washington State set up the first recycle disposal program in 2017, and after January of 2021, no one can sell a solar panel in Washington State without a program, period. California does not have one, and it's the largest producer of solar energy. So that means their waste is going to some other state. Solar panels compared to a lot of use patterns. 2.4 billion acres is what it will take for the United States to basically dispose of solar panels if we go all solar. 2.4 billion acres. No, that's how big, no, I'm sorry, I told you a lie. 0.6% of the waste is 14,400,000 acres. So if we wanted to build a solar farm to power the whole world, we would need 43,500 square miles of the Sahara Desert. And that would only last 20 years. And then we would have all those plates to get rid of. That's what we're talking about. The manufacture of solar panels is sulfuric acid, phosphine gas, cadmium, lead, 300 times more toxic waste per unit of electricity generated in nuclear power plants. So that ought to tell you something. We're all scared about nuclear. We better be scared about this mess. Manufacturers, they're only 11 to 18% basically efficient. There are only 3 manufacturing facilities in the United States. The rest live in China, and they also live in India. Solar companies in the United States, there's 24 companies, but there are only 3 manufacturers. So the one we're dealing with is not even a manufacturer. Now, let's talk about the last thing about it. And I'm going to say words that hurt, because I would like to get this through in 38 seconds. And I'm going to skip the rest of this mess. Right now, in Lauderdale County, the return on investment is 63 years for this project. 63 years, and we ain't even got to the waste yet. Number 2, here's the words that hurt. If we had more money, we could have better teachers. That's a lie. We just started using data with teachers, learning to better teach in the classroom. That is a lie. Our last superintendent told us in this past, let me finish this statement, that we were going to spend a lot of money in the near future. 14 million is just the tip of the iceberg. The last one is we need to replace, here's an example of something, of poor management. Somebody said there was 20 years use on the power lines, fielding lights on a football field. And they're going to replace them at several millions of dollars. I said, anybody hype on them? That's what we do in industry. And we do the polarization index, and we can tell you whether the cable's good or bad. And we can actually predict when they're going to be replaced. What happened here? We spent the money to replace good cables. That's called mismanagement to me. Now, I will make the last statement. I know I've gone over. I'm not interested in budgets. I'm interested in spending plans. Spending plans will tell you a whole story. And Raymond, I think you just said a minute ago, you didn't know what was in this budget. Most people don't. We don't know what. But I will say this. I think there should be quarterly meetings in town hall between the school board member, the board of supervisor member, and the city council member. I pay taxes in 3 entities. I think that ought to happen so we can know what's going on. And y'all can know what's going on. I got you covered. All right. But I got 2 handouts I'll give you. I'll give them to the guy on the end. I think when you read these, you might be pleasantly surprised that we just got suckered for several billions of dollars of landfill waste. That's the point. Now, what we say today is what we say tomorrow.
I'll make sure these get copied and get handed out.
All right, is there anyone else that would like to address the board at this time? For general good and welfare. I'll make the appeal one more time. Would anybody else like to address the board at this time? All right, seeing no motion from the audience, we'll go to number 12, actions from supervisors. Mr. Newell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just going to say it was a tragedy over the weekend. Certainly want to keep our Lauderdale County family in our thoughts and prayers with the courthouse. I don't know the names, but certainly other people does. And I'd like to make an announcement that tomorrow about 8 o'clock, weather permitting, out at the historical cemetery on 10th Avenue, that we will be erecting 3 new crosses out there for those people that's buried there, but especially in honor of the veterans that's buried out there. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. Todd.
Just congratulate the AFCO 5 girls, which my daughter's on, went to Birmingham, Alabama this weekend at the Liberty Cup and won their division. So congratulations to those girls. And I'm just glad that just remember, Jesus loves you, I do too.
All right, Mr. Norwood.
I also like to congratulate the Meridian youth who participated in 13-year-old youth who participated in the World Series. They fell short of the semifinals.
Came in third.
Came in third. That's third when you talk about the World Series, and I like to commend those young men and all of the coaches and parents who took their time out to have those kids exposed on the world stage like that. They should be commended. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Mr. Rutledge.
Remember recycling on August 31st, and this is mainly for Ms. Kelly. We'd always, Reading Star was good about letting people know about the county recycling day, and it's from 9 to 1 at the Ag Center. So just reminded Mr. Todd also.
All right, good deal. And that brings it back to me. Just to touch on what Mr. Newell talked about, the accident off of Windsor 493. Had a little accident out there involving some of our workers across the street. And they're just in Jackson. Some are in Jackson, some are here. Not quite sure really what the whole story is, but we just know it's some of our people involved, and we just want them to know that we're thinking about them. It was an ATV accident. So our thoughts and prayers are with them. Real quickly, school's starting back, or has started back, and we've talked to my daughter about texting and driving, and we've set the phone up where it won't get the notifications until she stops. I encourage people to think about it, talk about it, and educate yourselves. I've heard a lot of stories lately where good people have made mistakes about texting and driving, and it's changed their lives. Not only for them, but the people that were in the accident that was caused by texting and driving. So make good decisions. I know it's hard. That thing's sitting right there and it goes off, you want to look at it. I fight that as well. So just talk to your kids and be a good example. All right, so that was one of the things I want to talk about. Wanted to go back to just passing the budget. It was talked about in Matters for Good and Welfare. School board had a hearing on their budget. I don't know how big that was announced or promoted, but they have a hearing just like we did. So speaking of Silicon Ranch, nobody knows the price tag on that yet because it's not finished, but Mr. Rainey and his team will go out and make an observation on that. The county schools off that capital investment will be getting money. So just keep an eye on that. Maybe they'll come back at some point after they're getting that, or we land some business in the next year or two and they're getting dollars off of that. Let's just keep an eye on it and see what happens. Maybe there'll be a reduction in the future. One can hope. So, saying all that, I'll accept a motion to consider the need for an executive session. I have a motion. If you'll excuse us, please. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Thaggart.
All right. The board did go into executive session, discuss several matters, including the transaction of business, discussions and negotiations regarding the potential location of a business or industry in Lauderdale County, the potential purchase or lease of real property, and a personnel matter pertaining to the permit office, and no action was taken.
Okay. If there is no other business to bring before the board at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn until Tuesday, September 3rd, 2019 at 9 a.m.
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.